Naoya Inoue, better known to the boxing world as the Monster, has become one of the most captivating figures in the modern era of combat sports. Born in Japan and raised in a culture that emphasizes discipline, respect, and perfection in craft, Inoue brought to the ring a blend of traditional fundamentals and frightening power that transcended his small frame. To many casual fans, the lighter weight divisions often do not command the same attention as the glamour divisions like middleweight or heavyweight. Yet, with Inoue, those smaller divisions have become a stage for some of the most explosive and memorable battles of the century. One fight in particular, a clash that took place against the legendary Filipino Nonito Donaire, nearly derailed Inoue's rise to supremacy and remains one of the defining moments of his career. From the outset of his career, Inoue demonstrated a level of dominance rarely seen in boxing. He made his professional debut in 2012 and wasted little time before making waves in the sport. By his sixth professional fight, he had already captured the WBC light flyweight title, a remarkable achievement for a fighter so young and relatively inexperienced in the professional ranks. The Monster's path was never about padding his record with easy wins or carefully matched opponents. Instead, his journey was marked by a fearless willingness to take on challenges and continuously move up in weight divisions, each time proving that his devastating power and surgical precision could translate against larger, stronger men. The ultimate goal, even in the early stages, was to unify divisions and carve his name into the history books as an undisputed champion. After ruling the junior bantamweight division with an iron fist, scoring 6 knockouts in a dominant 3-year stretch, the Monster turned his attention to the bantamweight division. It was here that destiny aligned him with another figure whose name was already carved in boxing lore, Nonito Donaire. Known as the Filipino Flash, Donaire had already built a legacy as one of the most skilled and destructive punchers of his generation. With multiple world titles across 5 weight classes, his power was often compared to that of his countryman Manny Pacquiao, not only for the ability to carry his knockout threat across divisions, but also for his fearless approach in fighting bigger opponents. By the time the unification fight between Inoue and Donaire was set, the Filipino legend was 37 years old, holding the WBA bantamweight title, while Inoue entered as the IBF champion. This fight was more than just a unification bout. It was a generational clash between an aging warrior determined to remind the world of his greatness and a young lion eager to assert his dominance. When the two men finally met inside the squared circle, the atmosphere was electric. The opening round saw Donaire pressing forward, trying to set the tone with relentless pressure. Wearing gray trunks trimmed with black and yellow, the Filipino entered the ring with fire in his eyes, determined not to allow the Japanese superstar to dictate the pace. At first, it seemed as though Donaire's plan might succeed. His timing, experience, and ability to cut the ring forced Inoue into uncomfortable exchanges. Yet the Monster, true to his name, did not back down, responded with crisp counters, most notably his famed left hook, which served as a reminder of the dangerous force that stood before the veteran. Even in those early exchanges, the bout promised to be something special, and the second round, Donaire adjusted his rhythm and began finding greater success with his positioning. His footwork allowed him to close the gap and land meaningful shots. Inoue, for all his speed and accuracy, found himself forced onto the back foot, fighting in a way that was unfamiliar to fans who were accustomed to watching him dominate. The adjustments from Donaire showcased why he had been such a feared opponent throughout his career. He was able to exploit small openings and force Inoue into exchanges that carried risks. By the third and fourth rounds, it was clear that this was not going to be the kind of fight where the Monster steamrolled his opponent. Instead, it was shaping up to be a war. The first significant turning point of the fight came when Inoue suffered a cut and, more devastatingly, a fractured orbital bone around his right eye. The injury immediately changed the complexion of the fight. A broken orbital bone is one of the most dangerous and painful injuries a fighter can sustain inside the ring. It can severely limit vision, cause swelling, and put a fighter at risk of permanent damage. Many boxers have been forced to retire mid-fight from such an injury. Yet Inoue, embodying the warrior spirit, pressed on. With blood running from his nose and limited vision in one eye, the monster was forced to dig deeper than ever before. Donaire, sensing the opportunity, took full advantage. He pressed forward relentlessly, timing his shots to exploit the Japanese champion's compromised vision and landing punishing counters whenever Inoue overcommit. For much of the middle rounds, the Filipino appeared to be in control, dictating the pace and frustrating the younger fighter. What made this fight extraordinary was not just the tactical brilliance of Donaire or the sheer resilience of Inoue, but the dramatic swings in momentum. Whenever Donaire seemed to be on the verge of overwhelming his opponent, Inoue would fire back with lightning-fast combinations, reminding everyone why he was called the monster. The exchanges were brutal and unrelenting, with both men absorbing punishment that would have finished lesser fighters. The crowd, and even the commentators, were swept into the drama unfolding before them. Each round felt like a story unto itself, with shifts in momentum, tactical adjustments, and moments of raw willpower. By the ninth round, the drama had reached its peak. Donaire landed a devastating overhand right that rocked Inoue to his core. For the first time in his career, the monster appeared visibly shaken. His legs buckled, and for a moment, it seemed as though the unthinkable might happen. Naoya Inoue, the invincible force of the lower divisions, might be stopped. Yet somehow, summoning reserves of resilience that only the greatest champions possess, he steadied himself and survived the round. His recovery was as swift as it was remarkable, a testament not only to his conditioning but also to his indomitable spirit. As the fight entered the championship rounds, it became evident that Donaire might actually be ahead on points. His experience, ring generalship, and consistent pressure had arguably allowed him to build a lead. For Inoue, this meant one thing: he needed something dramatic to turn the tide. And in round 11, the monster delivered. With precision and ferocity, he landed a left hook to the body that sent shockwaves through Donaire's frame. The Filipino legend crumpled to the canvas, writhing in pain as he searched for the strength to rise. It was a rare sight, as Donaire had only been floored a handful of times in his long career. Somehow, through sheer grit, he made the count and rose to his feet. Inoue, showing both respect and composure, allowed his opponent space rather than rushing recklessly. Yet the damage had been done, and the monster pressed his advantage with a furious barrage. The round became one of the most thrilling spectacles in modern boxing, a showcase of heart, skill, and determination from both men. Despite the knockdown, Donaire managed to survive until the final bell. When the scorecards were read, Inoue was awarded a unanimous decision victory. The crowd erupted in appreciation, not just for the winner, but for the incredible display of courage and skill from both fighters. Many observers immediately declared it the fight of the year, and some even considered it among the greatest bouts in bantamweight history. For Inoue, the fight was both a triumph and a trial. He had been pushed to the brink, tested in ways he never had before, and had emerged stronger. For Donaire, though he lost, the performance revitalized his legacy, proving that even at 37 years old, he remained one of the most dangerous fighters in the world. The aftermath of the fight was marked by a display of mutual respect that transcended sport. Inoue, in a gesture that captured hearts, gifted Donaire his tournament trophy, honoring the Filipino's promise to his children that he would bring home hardware regardless of the outcome. It was a moment of humility and class, a reminder that even in a brutal sport like boxing, respect and honor remain paramount. For many fans, this post-fight moment was just as memorable as the action inside the ring. Remarkably, the story did not end there. Following their 2019 war, Donaire defied expectations by capturing another world title at age 38, becoming the oldest bantamweight champion in history. His resurgence set the stage for a rematch with Inoue, a chance to once again test himself against the monster and perhaps achieve the seemingly impossible. The anticipation was high, as fans wondered whether lightning could strike twice. Could the aging veteran once again push Inoue to his limits, or would the Japanese phenom close the chapter definitively? When they met again, the answer came swiftly and brutally. Unlike their first encounter, the rematch was not a back-and-forth war. This time, Inoue was ready from the opening bell. Donaire, true to form, came charging forward, attempting to impose his will. But Inoue's speed, timing, and accuracy had reached new levels. In the very first round, a thunderous right hand sent Donaire crashing to the canvas. Though he managed to survive, the damage was evident. In the second round, Inoue unleashed a merciless barrage, cornering Donaire and punishing him with blistering combinations. A slicing left hook landed flush, sending the Filipino legend staggering, his legs betraying him as he performed an involuntary dance across the canvas. The referee had little choice but to stop the contest, and the monster had earned a decisive knockout victory. In 2 rounds, he had erased any doubts, cementing his superiority while also showing just how far he had come since their first war. For Donaire, the rematch was a sobering reminder of time's inevitability. Though still capable of competing with younger fighters, the years had finally caught up with him against an opponent like Inoue. Yet his legacy remained untarnished. With multiple world titles across 5 divisions, his name was already secure in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Fans around the world expressed their admiration, acknowledging not only his skills but also his courage in continuing to test himself against the very best. As for Inoue, the victory propelled him to even greater heights. He moved up once more, conquering the super bantamweight division and becoming undisputed champion. This achievement placed him in rare company, alongside Terence Crawford, as one of only 2 fighters in the 4-belt era to become undisputed in 2 separate divisions. His journey through the weight classes, marked by dominance and resilience, has been nothing short of extraordinary. Each step has reinforced his reputation as not only one of the best fighters of his era but also one of the greatest in boxing history. The first clash between Inoue and Donaire remains a touchstone in the sport. It exemplified everything that makes boxing beautiful and brutal: the clash of generations, the ebb and flow of momentum, the display of heart in the face of adversity, and the mutual respect shared by warriors. Many historians and fans rank it among the greatest bantamweight fights of all time, a testament to the fact that greatness is not always defined by dominance, but often by the ability to endure, to adapt, and to overcome. For Inoue, the fight was a near disaster that became a defining triumph. For Donaire, it was a loss that nonetheless reinforced his legend. Together, they created a story that will be retold as long as the sport endures. Boxing thrives on such narratives, where 2 men step into the ring with everything on the line and leave behind a memory that transcends wins and losses. The monster's journey continues, his train of destruction still rolling through divisions, but the night he nearly lost it all against the Filipino Flash will forever stand as one of the greatest chapters in his remarkable story.